so true. Over the sea of memory, I'm drifting back to you. Childhood days, wildwood ways, among the birds and bees. You left me alone, but still you're my own in my garden of memory. Thank you.
Thanks, folks. You know, this right here is one of my favorite spots in the world. Because if you've ever sang on this stage, it's just, the acoustics are amazing. So it's really great that Crescent Fort Rouge was able to let us use this church. Thanks very much for coming. So yeah, we have 10 songwriters today. They're each going to do one song. So yeah, they're going to, they've all collaborated with an elder in Manitoba, as Grant explained there. And to kick off the show today, we've got my old friend Jaxon Haldane here. And he's been a mainstay in the Winnipeg community for a long, long time. And he just did a song. He was the very first one, hey? And he did a song about Howard, who you just saw. So here's Jaxon Haldane. Give him a big hand. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Well, now you're already familiar with the wonder that is Howard Swan, so I don't have to explain too much about how amazing he is. You saw for yourselves. But in our conversations, Hallie and I talked a lot, and he reminisced a lot about his time performing in the vaudeville era. And it seemed like every great story was set in some majestic old theater that no longer exists. And after about 3 meetings with Howard, I was starting to realize that this one I better have some fodder for a song, because we've now hung out for about 3 hours. So I'm starting to know this guy pretty well. I should have an idea where I'm going with the song. And every time I thought about where I was going to go with the song, it just had to be about these theaters. It just seemed like I was so enraptured by the idea of this culture that existed in Winnipeg, where 7 nights a week there were 3 shows of rotating entertainment, of very different disciplines, and I just thought, what a different time when that could be supported. We can barely get people out to a gig once a month nowadays. And people used to go and do this all the time, but this is pre-radio, this is pre-television, this is when you literally had to go out to be entertained, unless maybe you had some instruments kicking around the parlor. And I was just so inspired by the idea of an old time so far beyond my own experience, and just because everything seemed to be set in these theaters, I thought we'll celebrate these theaters while we're celebrating Howard, because that seems to be the touchstone for a lot of these great old memories. And so, like we do in songwriting, I took some poetic liberties. So it should be noted as a disclaimer that Howard did not meet his wife, as I intimate in the song, at whatever theater I say he met her at. The Beacon is where he met his wife. The Beacon. Is that correct, Howard? Okay, so just because I got it wrong in the song doesn't mean I didn't know what I was talking about. Sometimes it just rhymes better. My friend Orit is going to join me singing some harmonies, and Grant's going to play some piano. Okay, here we go. I used to play the old theaters when we could pack 'em in 3 times a day. I'm used to Beacon and the Bijou too. I miss 'em all because they all gone away. And late at night when my memory calls, I return to those hallowed halls. I'll know peace when my last curtain falls. I spent a lifetime up on the stage. I met a dancer at the Wonderland. She cracked the complex code that was me. Knew every step inside my lonely heart, had every accent for every beat. I stayed beside her 60 brilliant years, and when she left I cried a million tears. Somehow she still whispers in my ear, we had a lifetime up on the stage. I don't know what would have happened if I'd have gone to medical school. Maybe I'd have been a wealthy man with a boat and a swimming pool. Maybe I'd have won a Nobel Prize or an Olympic speed skating gold. But none of that would have been half as rich without my dancer to hold. I used to play the old theaters when we could pack 'em in 3 times a day. I miss the Starland and the Orpheum. I miss them all because they've all gone away. And late at night when my memory calls, I return to those hallowed halls. I know peace when my last curtain falls. I spent a lifetime up on the stage. I spent a lifetime up on the stage. I spent a lifetime up on the stage. Thank you so much. Howard Swan, one more time, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Thanks, Jaxon. Thanks, Howie. What a great tune. Yeah, we're going to keep the show rolling. Next up, we have Keri Latimer, who you may know from Leaf Rapids and from Nathan. And she wrote a song about Paramjeet Singh, which is he here? No. Is Paramjeet here? Okay. Well, in either case, it's a beautiful song. Just check it out.
I don't know if I should plug this in or not. I'm sorry. Decide if you want to use it. Oh, I'm just holding it in my hand. Does that work? Put this way down because Jackson's very tall. Yes, I got to know Paramjeet through Zoom meetings over the winter, and it was. He's a lovely, lovely man. He sends his blessings. He's in India right now, so he isn't able to make it. But he called me the other day from India saying he wishes that he could be here, and God bless all of you, he says. And he's a very romantic soul, and I wanted to write about his life. He has an interesting life. He's the president of the Pickleball Association of Winnipeg. He's a yoga master and a very kind man. It was kind of like Silence of the Lambs, our conversation, because he wouldn't just let me ask him questions. He also wanted to ask me questions and know as much information for information. So we got to know each other really well, and I consider him a friend. And I did play this for him at the Pickleball Association Christmas party, but I screwed it up. And I lost at pickleball, too. But he's very romantic, and so he didn't want me to write a song about him. He wanted to get right in the process, and he wrote a poem that I manipulated into this song, and he's I really appreciate it because my songs are quite dark, but he's a very lovely, romantic man. I will not call you the moon when every morning flowers bloom, a moment's glory, only to fade. I would not call you a diamond to be lost or stolen from me, nor the taste of nectar sweet upon my lips to thrill so briefly, then disappear. To me you are a sonnet for my soul to dance within. In this way we will never be apart. The song that I waited all my life so desperately to hear, only to find that I knew all the words by heart. May the tears of sorrow flowing from my eyes, now that I can't feel your hands in mine, be dried up like the autumn leaves and swept away across the prairie sands of time. To me you are a sonnet for my soul to dance within. In this way we will never be apart. A song that I waited all my life so desperately to hear, only to find that I knew all the lines by heart. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Keri. I love that song. It's great. You know, this wouldn't be possible without Sandy, but also wouldn't be possible without Manitoba Arts Council and New Horizons, who gave the money to this program to help artists make it through the pandemic. And it certainly helped artists create art and keep doing what they do. So thank you to New Horizons and Manitoba Arts Council. Amazing. We're really lucky in Canada to have lots of organizations to give money to the arts like that. The next artist I would like to welcome to the stage, the next act, is The Cat's Advice with Lex and Tom. And I've known Lex for a while since she runs the Gordy's Coffee House over at the Big Red Church over in Elmwood. And they wrote a tune about Betty Drummond. Is Betty here? Betty? There's Betty. So I'll let these guys tell you all about their song.
Hi, I'm Laughin' Lex. This is Red River Tommy. We are the Cat's Advice.
We are.
We just got to meet our Betty today. We chatted on Zoom over when the whole thing was going on, but to actually see you face to face and be able to say hi and to touch your hand is just such an honor. Betty shared her life story with us, and a couple of things rose to the surface for us. Her mother would like to trot her out when she was a wee little girl that was doing dance. And so her mother would roll back the rug because Betty's going to dance. And so that she never really liked it, apparently. But it's what mums do. So that became kind of the chorus of our song, and the rest of pieces and bits of her life, and of course some artistic license, weave in and around that, and we called our song Betty Belle. Oh, another thing, she told us, first off, that she is a prairie girl, born and raised in the prairies, but didn't realize it until she was an adult. So that was a curious thing, too. So this is for our prairie girl, Betty Belle.
And there was another thing she said in our conversation I got to bring out. I asked Betty, I said, how long did you dance? And she said, well, I started when I was a very young girl. And I said, so did you keep on dancing through your life? And she said, no, I stopped at 12. And I said, why'd you stop at 12? She said, boys.
Oh, boys. Well, a story begins with a twilight trip through the past, and a prairie girl we're calling Betty Belle. She says, always let your little light shine, shine, shine. And that's how she lives her life so well. No matchmaking kid will ever get her to settle down. She's waiting on her one and only true love. So she's off to Chicago, Broadway, New York, and she acts out her life until he shows. Roll back the rug, Betty Belle's gonna dance. Roll back the rug, Mama says. Roll back the rug, Betty Belle's gonna dance, gonna dance, gonna dance, gonna dance. Mama comes along in her $4 house dress. Betty Belle, she says, this is your life. One lunch with that guitar playing, tall, handsome man. Take his hand and you will soon become his wife. Tell me again, because I know that you want to. I've already told you more than I know. Well, I may not know how to swim, but I'll always stay afloat in our world made of laughter and love. Roll back the rug, Betty Belle, won't you dance? Roll back the rug, Mama says. Roll back the rug, Betty Belle's
gonna dance. Won't you dance? 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 Won't you dance?
Thank you very much.
Little Led Zeppelin.
I don't know what that was. That's my piece of equipment, too. I've never heard that noise. Haha. So, the next performer we have here is Lois Gillespie. I've known her for quite some time, too. And we used to play music together at jams and at open mics and stuff. And I thought of Lois because she spent a lot of time singing in the hospitals. And I remember my friend and mentor, Mitch Podolak, always talking about Lois and how great her voice was, and how he always used to see her when he was in hospital and coming around. And I thought, she'd be good. Anyway, I'm a big fan of Lois Gillespie. Here she is.
Hello. I seem tall, but I'm short, actually, from the waist up. So that made me weepy, mentioning Mitch. Thanks for that, Tim, for making me weepy. Yeah, I had the pleasure of playing for him many times when he was in the hospital. So I wrote a song for Helen Bayali, who's like me, she's a writer, so that was awesome. An incredible woman. I kind of felt like I had been adopted by a grandma for like, she sent me a book to read and sent me a poem she wrote, and ordinarily I write sort of morose heartbreak songs. That's sort of my writing style, but I wanted to write something that captured her spirit, which was just full of faith and hope. And 88 years old, she was still shoveling and living on her own. And yeah, I got more out of her, I think, than she got of talking to me. But I played this song maybe a few times, so I played it for her. And she said, I couldn't hear it very well, but I just saw your face, and it just looked so beautiful. So this is called Chapters. Stitched together by family and faith, a tapestry woven in gifts of grace, blessed with beauty and a curious mind, compassion and kindness, her guiding light. Grew up strong in the Caliento bog, wetlands, forest, fox and fawn, creation painted in prairie hues, set her free to wander 'neath the silvery moon. These are the moments of a life well lived, through heartache and joy, learning how to forgive. Whether in the storms that rise and fall, she kept her head held high, saying yes to it all. Found a love so gentle and true. It was not long till they said I do. He took her hand at a Saturday dance, spun her around the room and never looked back. A fierce sense of adventure carried her through all the changes that came. Chapters written as the story is told. A spark of love, she set aflame. These are the moments of a life well lived, through heartache and joy, learning how to forgive. Whether in the storms that rise and fall, she kept her head held high, saying yes to it all. Living now in the twilight of her years, new friends and memories to bring good cheer, filled with hope, never alone until that day the Lord calls her home. These are the moments of a life well lived, through heartache and joy, learning how to forgive. Whether in the storms that rise and fall, she kept her head held high, saying yes to it all. Thank you. She actually did say yes to it all. Oh my, Helen! I can't believe you're here. I didn't think that you would come here because it's so far. Oh my. Hello. I'm so glad I didn't know beforehand, because it would have made me so nervous. Oh, it's great to see you. Oh, I'm going to put my mask on and come and say hello.
Anyway, I don't know what that is. Craziness. I'm glad it doesn't last. Like sometimes those sound issues, they just get louder and louder, and you're just, how do I stop? Anyway. Yeah, so the next person we have up here is Gabriel Fields. And Gabriel does a lot of great different types of music, traditional music. He knows a lot about traditional Mexican music and Francophone as well. I first met him in the shack at Festival de Voyageurs, doing a jam. We were both dressed like voyageurs. It was fun. But Gabriel did a song about Rory Plaza. Is Rory here at all? I don't think so. I don't think she made it. She goes by Aurora, right? Okay, so Gabriel Fields, everybody.
Hello, everyone. It feels like a privilege to be able to play this in front of you. It's too bad Aurora wasn't here, but yeah, this is maybe the first time I play it in public. I played it in front of a video for the Zoom. As some of you maybe have seen it, but this is the first time to play it in person. And like other people, I got paired up with a lovely person Aurora is originally from the Philippines, and we got to talking, and kindred spirits. We're both teachers. She was a teacher, a math teacher in the Philippines for 35 years, but came here because of her family. And so, yeah, it was just a privilege to be able to get to know her. And I don't write a lot of songs with lyrics, but this song ended up having a hook in Tagalog, and I don't speak Tagalog. So does anybody speak Tagalog here? Great, amazing. Phew. There you go. But if you want to see the process, on the YouTube video where I play the song, there's a little cut of her coaching me how to pronounce and how to work through the lyrics. So she basically, throughout her life, she's worked hard for the people that she loved, and also is a big fan of Elvis and all of these other, So she, inspired by the old ballads of the 50s, and she was telling me of strolling through the park listening to Elvis with her first love, who was not her husband, but fond memories of Elvis. And so this song is called Hard Work, and let's see if I can remember the words. Hard work and love is the way to go. Hard work and love is the way. Aurora, did you know? All those years ago, Aurora, did you know? How far you'd come today, Aurora. I know it wasn't easy, and as they say back home, planting rice is never fun. I know it wasn't easy, and as they say back home, planting rice is never fun. But hard work is the road to happiness. Kasipag ang daan patungo sa kaligayahan, kaligayahan, kaligayahan. Now life's not about the numbers, but if we start to count, looks like you're not doing so bad, my dear. 7 decades here, and a few more passport stamps. Aurora, you're with the Northern Lights. You've got 3 generations spread across the world. Look at all that hard work and love. And 35 years of class, with all those countless minds and countless hearts with love. Because hard work is the road to happiness. Kasipag ang daan patungo sa kaligayahan, 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 kaligayahan. Hard work and love is the way to go. Hard work and love is the way to go. Hard work and love is the way. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gabriel. Hard work and love, that's what gets us through this, eh? For sure. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Patti Kusturok was part of this too. If you don't know Patti, she's a Canadian champion fiddle player that lives here in Winnipeg. She couldn't make it for the show, unfortunately. She's in Mexico or something. I saw her, last time I saw her, she had an iguana on her shoulder or something. I guess you're not coming. Joe Millard here. Can we get a chair for Joe? Wrote a beautiful poem. You don't want a chair? Oh, okay. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so Joe's going to read her poem, and we've got Patti's fiddle tune on the screen at the same time, and we're going to work that out somehow. Yeah. Grant's got it all figured out.
Introduce it first.
Okay, I'll let you do that.
Sure. My poem is called Dreamers, and it was inspired by Richard, who was a student of mine. I worked as a teaching assistant at Grant Park High School in the special ed program, and I worked with Richard for several years. Richard had MS and was wheelchair bound. He had certainly no use of his legs and one arm only, which he used to operate his wheelchair. One thing he had going for him was he had speech, which a lot of MS students did not. So Richard and I was the grandma in this poem story, and Richard is my grandson. And we went on these imaginary trips together. And so each verse begins, "My gran and I are dreamers, what shall we dream today?" And I, as the grandma, answer about these wonderful trips that we take in our imagination. And it's called Dreamers. My gran and I are dreamers. What shall we dream today? Let's go with Marco Polo on a trip to Old Cathay. On Camel Humpy, road that's bumpy, travel day by day, feel silky silks, smell spicy spice in markets on display. My gran and I are dreamers. What shall we dream today? We'll go to Mother Goose Land, find Jack and Jill to play. And then for lunch, we'll have a munch, Miss Muffet's curds and whey. Help Miss Bo Peep to find her sheep. We'll have a busy day. My gran and I are dreamers. What shall we dream today? We'll grow great wings to soar up high where clouds are never gray. We'll touch the stars and head for Mars, come back to Earth someday. My gran and I are dreamers. What shall we dream today? We're pirates on the bounding main, a-sailing from Black Bay. We loot and shoot and steal the gold. We're mean, so stay away. My gran and I are dreamers. What shall we dream today? We'll take a trip to Africa, watch lions stalk their prey. In muddy hollows, see hippos wallow, monkeys swing in trees, elephants marching trunk to tail. So much to see, let's stay. My gran and I are dreamers. We take dream trips each day, Imagination gets us there, don't even have to pay. I'm wheelchair bound, don't get around. With Gran, it's fun to play. I love my Gran.
Patti's in South America right now, I think. So this next one, we put right before the intermission for a good reason. Because it's Lianne Fournier. How many of you know Lianne? So you know that we sadly lost her in the last year. But she had done this song, her story, the song, and we turned out beautifully. We wanted to include it in this show. So we'll just show the video that she did for the song. And then we'll take a short break and come back with some more. So here's Lianne Fournier. It's called Bonnie's Song. Bonnie's not here, eh? By any chance? No? Is she? Bonnie's not here? No, okay.
What's in store for me up there, looking for adventure everywhere, glancing down at the clouds as we drive into town. It's cold here but it's warm in our hearts, children playing in the rays of night, frozen lashes blinding out our sight, and the times we had fun under deep midnight suns, memories that are clear in my mind. Dancing light, moons aglow, we're all part of the show, connected by the sun and the stars. Did I really live like this, or was it just a dream? Black fog in the distance rising from the ocean streams, narrow waters, perfect scenes, the mystic ways of being, how nature sings. Show, connected by the sun and the stars, secret tales and mysteries, we're spirits in the snow, connected by the sun and the stars.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with a shorter second set, but so we'll see you in a bit. There's some snacks and refreshments over there, and we'll see you in a bit. 15 minutes. Hello, there we go. Woo! That was a good show. Wow, lots of variety, eh? So glad you could come and share it with us today. So we have Orit Shimoni here. Orit drifted into Winnipeg around in March 2020, was it? Something like that. From Ontario, right? From the road. Anyway, and she now is a Winnipegger. And she's been here ever since. Yeah. So Orit was part of the first and second round of Stories to Songs. And she wrote 2 songs about Sally Pasco. Is she here? Sally, there you are. And, sorry. Or Elaine Horn, of course. Is Elaine here? Elaine, oh yeah, Elaine couldn't come. Okay, well, anyway, here's Orit Shimoni. Give her a big hand.
Hello. It's nice to see human beings again. If I start talking about how much I love this project, we'll be here for another 4 hours, but it is one of the most magical things I've ever gotten to do, so give the whole program a round of applause. When I was first introduced to Elaine Horn, we had a quick phone call, and she said, I don't really think I have a story. And when we met in person, she had about 7,000, and all of them were amazing, and all of them were like stepping into a movie. And Jaxon and I were talking about how great songwriting is when you can be really concise. This is not one of those cases. There were so many glorious details in what she remembered and remembered and remembered that it was like walking through a movie. And I couldn't deprive you of that, or her. In fact, it's so long, I needed 2 music stands. So buckle up. Do we have a sound person? That's good. I should mention that she said, well, I always say I wasn't brought up, I was dragged up. So this is called The Dragging Up of Elaine Horn. My dad was gone, my mom was poor when I was 3 months old. A few more years she moved me out so she could work, I'm told. I called them aunt and uncle, but they left me so alone. I was as quiet as a mouse, as quiet as a stone. A few more years and suddenly in a school I was. There were so many children there, it made my poor head buzz. I didn't learn much anything, I rarely spoke my turn. But when the teacher made that poor boy bleed, I said I'd not return. You should have seen Main Street way back then, it wasn't like Main Street now. From the market we'd return our goods carried somehow. When we brought that chicken home, I thought it was my pet. And when my uncle chopped its head off, that's one thing I can't forget. Was sent to every nearest church, the faith it mattered not. I wasn't wondering which one's right, it was just lost in thought. That first time I was brought to sit beside a Christmas tree. The other kids knew what it was, but it was new to me. My mom remarried while my aunt and uncle still had me. I didn't want that anymore as far as I could see. I walked along the bus route, that's how I knew my way. Walked the streets and avenues, it took me half a day. And
Music then came flooding in, and finally I could dance. And polkas were my favorite, and down the streets I'd prance. When you play accordion, the bellows can unfold. And in between each story, there's 1,000 more untold. I wasn't learning anything in school that I could learn. No funds for university, to stay there seemed obtuse. I asked my mom if I could quit, she said pay room and board. I worked enough to save a bit of freedom to afford. And the most free that I ever felt was singing in the streets. My best friend, top of our lungs, we danced through rain and sleet. We laughed so hard we split our sides, we laugh about it still. It's great to have a friend like that when you're climbing life's great hill. Some of the girls were getting married, it was not for me. The boys seemed kind of stupid, I didn't want to ring. And there was one who kept insisting we should probably wed. When he pushed that drink into my hand, I poured it on his head. And the city winters were so cold, it was too cold for me. My friend said, why don't you just move? It kinda set me free. It was a Monday, I decided I was leaving town. By Thursday I was on a train, I was Vancouver bound. I'd saved the $35 working at the candy store. I asked my mother if she'd give me $35 more. I was so thrilled to see the mountains on my merry way. I was so thrilled to get a job and start a brand new day. When you play accordion, the bellows can unfold. And in between each story, there's 1,000 more untold. I met the man who'd marry me, he was from my hometown. We liked each other right away, and soon I wore the gown. And he was not a stupid man, though he broke my heart some days. I guess there's no avoiding it, that's just the price you pay. We had 2 darling daughters, and their beauty was my gem. I made it clear to both I would always be there for them. I set down rules to make it clear I held their safety dear. And you know I like it best when I have my children near. And I tell them that there comes a time you don't argue again. It's best just not to fight and take care of your own brain. When you play accordion, the billows can unfold. And in between each story, there's 1,000 more untold. Wait. My vision's going, but there's certain things I'll always see. And what I don't, it still remains, it's there in memory. I think back of the times I laughed so wildly in the street. That laughter and that liberty, I swear it can't be beat. That laughter and that liberty, I swear it can't be beat.
Tim was doing the set order, and he very wisely put almost everybody in the first set and my 2 really long songs. So here's another really long song, and this one, so Sally's here, and when I first started playing shows, I was maybe 15, 16, and living at home still, and my mom would sometimes come to the gig, and we had a rule after the first few times, no eye contact with Mom, because we would both burst into tears. And Sally and I, like, we spent just as much time crying together as we did talking together. It's wonderful to have you here. Now, Sally was the first project I did with the Story to Song, and you know, I was talking to Grant, and he said, well, we've paired you up with a 79-year-old lesbian. And I thought, there's no way this woman doesn't have an incredible story. There were no equal rights in her era of growing up. There is no way this woman doesn't have an amazing story. It might not be the story she wants to share. Let's find out. It was the story she wanted to share, and so there's a lot of history here, and a lot of perseverance and incredible spirit of this incredible person who was an activist, and we still need people like her. So give her a round of applause before. And I've got the extra delicious pleasure of having Grant play some piano with me on this. So.
All the girls loved Elvis, but I loved Doris Day. When she sang about her secret love, I knew there had to be a way. Well, I was smart to keep my mouth shut. Even back then, I was no fool. I played kissing games with Billy to fit in with the kids at school. There was no word for what I was. There was nobody to ask. I only found out later, kids like me can go up dying by the hands of the flask. I lost my mama, I lost my dad. With my own truth I stumbled round. And if I knew anything at all, I had to leave this too small town. Well, then came the big city. I met another one like me. She came and opened up my eyes, a thriving underground to see. And though we hid out in the streets, always hiding out in the open, at least between the walls, we finally knew that we weren't broken. But they chased us, threatened arrest. So how could we ever get any rest?
Imagine yourself strapped to a bed, getting forced to electrocute your head. And then one night in '69, the cops stormed a bar called Stonewall. But by then the queens, they'd had enough. They brought their fists into the brawl. Wigs came off, high heels went flying, feather boas bright. We'd had enough. The time was now, and we stood up for the fight. Well, it took courage, it took humor, and it took cooperation. But slowly, with our rainbow flag, we won our liberation. And I know exactly who I am, and I'm free to love out loud. But it took so much to get here, and for that I'm truly proud. And it's not that I'm not scared, or that I'm not worried still. As far as I'm concerned, we're only halfway up the hill. Hate still marches far away, and even in these parts, and we must keep on fighting till we've won all their hearts. Oh, we must keep on fighting till we've won all their hearts.
Sally Popstow. Can I tell the fine people that there's a show coming up at the Park Theater? Jaxon and Keri are gonna sit in with me for my 2 sets, or for one of the sets, but we're very excited. So Monday, April 11th, you can talk to that man over there. Raise your hand. Thank you.
Thanks, Orit. Yeah, you're good to go. Hopefully it doesn't make that weird sound again.
Hey!
We're good. I had this joke about construction. Well, I'm still working on it. So it's okay. We have Rob Waddell is here, and he met up with Gord Harding, who was a prison guard. It's cool. You know, before I called Rob, I heard that he could write a song about anything. I was like, wow. Well, then I'll give him a call. And you know, when I called him, he said, one of my good friends just passed away, and this is really timely, and I'm really appreciating the opportunity to make a new friend. And so hopefully that happened. So here's Rob Waddell.
Hello. I was telling my friend Tanya that this reminds me of the Nipawin Fine Arts Festival. You get up on the stage and do some poetry or something like that. Any requests? Is that coming through? Yeah? Gord Harding, he's not here tonight. I don't know if I need that microphone for my vocal, but I'll stand here. He's in a wheelchair now. He's known as Bull Moose when he was a prison guard and also when he was switchman on the railway. That was his favorite job. He liked being outdoors. When I heard that he was a prison guard for 30 years, I believe, I thought, ugh, it could be some bad stories. And there weren't. He didn't dwell on that. There was no violence in anything that he shared. There was just talking about people working out their problems. He ran the crews that would go out and put together playgrounds in rural towns. He'd drive the bus and make these guys work. Well, help them decide to work, I guess, is really what he was doing. But he wasn't a mean man. He was 6'1", 280, and he's just an amazing guy. And I came up with the line about the shadow because if it's sunny out, there's shadows. I mean, that's just the deal, right? And if the sun's behind you, they're in front of you. If it's, you know the deal. It's not a physics lesson. I failed physics. But how we choose to view them and what we choose to focus on is more important than which direction the sun is shining, or if it's shining at all. He was one of those guys that just knew how to live every day. He never questioned in his mind once. So he was remarkable. He is remarkable, and I wish he was here. The song is called, geez, do I even have a name for this song? I don't think I do have a name for it. I wrote it in one go, sitting in the parking lot, right before I met with him for the second time. Here it goes. This one's for Gord Harding. Speaks of the rails with a spark in his eye. Hard work, fresh air, fuel to the fire. 10 years a switchman, known down the line. It's Bull Moose, buddy, good pal of mine. Some people stand taller than the shadow they throw. Some folks don't wonder, they just seem to know what needs to be done next to carry the line forward and further, one day at a time. Laid off and running with an ear to the ground, not one to wallow, sit still or lie down. Hired by corrections and correctly turns out 6'1", 280 and a mind just as stout. Given and gotten, respect all around, when jobs are done right or solutions were found. Otherwise justice turned like a vice, as tightly as needed, not mean but not nice. Some people stand taller than the shadow they throw. Some folks don't wonder, they just seem to know what needs to be done next to carry the line forward and further, one day at a time. Hired as a handyman on holiday breaks, Winnipeg Beach, from the plumbing to shakes. The man of the hour, any time, any day. He knew what to do and he knew what to say. Sunny St. James, born and raised all the way. Cheers to the same every glass that he raises, no question. He's learned how to live and let live. So here's to the stories and the wisdom they give. Some people stand taller than the shadow they throw. Some folks don't wonder, they just seem to know what needs to be done next to carry the line forward and further, one day at a time. Forward and further, one day at a time. Thank you. And thank you. And thank you.
I always wince every time that chord drops now. Anyway, we got a couple performers left in the show. It's been a really cool show. I really am enjoying myself. Hope you are too. We have Kate Ferris and Fred Casey going to come up and sing their tune. And Kate's been, you were part of the first round, I suppose, hey? Yeah. Helen, is it Helen? Oh, Betty. Sorry. Is Betty Curris here? Hey, there's Betty. So they wrote a song about Betty Curris, and you'll find, well, I'll let her explain it, but apparently they had lots in common, went really well. So here's Kate Ferris and Fred Casey. You guys want to just do it acoustic? You gonna plug in? Yeah. Okay, this is muted right now.
Truth in Advertising. Kate wrote the whole song. I had nothing to do with it, and I don't sing very much in it either.
And now for something entirely different. You may notice I might need a little help in the singing. Fortunately, I don't sing a lot in this song, but I want you to help me with something. I'll tell you about it in a minute. No pressure. First live performance in 2 years, singing a song you've written for an amazing person and hoping that they like it. No pressure at all. I was so lucky. Betty Curris is she's just wonderful. And, we never met in person until tonight. It was all through Zoom. And we'd get on, the first meeting we had actually was on the phone because I don't think I could get my Zoom working. That was only an hour and a half. That was okay. And the next 5 Zooms were 2.5 hours each. And the thing was, the more that we talked, the more we discovered we just had so much in common. Betty would say, well, how can you write a song about me when you don't write it about yourself? We were both farm girls. We both had relatives that helped set up the Austin Thresherman Museum steam shuttle. It's a great place. Fred actually grew up across the street from the Central Community Club in Brandon, where Betty would go for sock hops and skating. And we discovered we knew people it was just crazy, and we did a lot of laughing. Betty says, yeah, we sort of cackled like 2 hens in a farmyard. And, like everyone, Betty, the more I learned about her, the more I was impressed, because like most people, she's had times that were not great in her life, but her spirit is just amazing, and she is so full of fun. So I said, well, I've written the song, and she said, is it funny? And I said, yes, it is. And she went, good. And I thought, that's good, because I remember my ma once coming up and hearing me sing years ago when I was living in Thompson. And she said, why do you always just sing sad songs? And I just, I said, well, because they're about the human condition and they're blah, 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 blah. And now that I'm a senior myself, I write funny songs a lot of the time. Because, you know, sometimes you just need a little laughter to get through it all. So when I do the chorus, and it only comes up twice, I'm going to go, "Whoa, Betty," and I want you to go, "Whoa, Betty," or you can go, "Whoa, Betty," whichever you prefer. Let's just try that out. "Oh, Betty." That's right. And Betty, I should mention, her email address is Betty B. Ladybug. Her name when she was born was Betty Black, so there's the B. And ladybugs are very special for her. She didn't start out to collect them, but she got very special ladybugs, and then from then on it just kept growing. People keep giving them to her. So when I say the tale of Betty B, the ladybug gal, and we're so happy to have Grant play with us. So here goes nothing, folks. Just remember, "Oh, Betty."
Oh, Betty.
She was born Betty Black during harvest time on a farm in Brandon's North Hill. She told me that she was a bit of a brat, but I think you just like to thrill. 'Cause her escapades are ready-made for stories that will wow. She never really went out looking for trouble, but it always seemed to find her somehow. One time Betty had a brilliant idea that ended up quite a stunt. There was an old machine that sat by the road with a big empty roller in front. Betty told her little brother, "Let's crawl inside and we'll eat our lunch, all right?" But when she went to crawl back out, poor Betty was stuck tight. Well, her brother ran for help and her daddy came, but no matter how he tried, he'd pull and he'd tug, but it was just no use. Betty B was still inside. So he shoved a tub of axle grease, had her pull off her shorts and top. When she'd smeared it all over like a cork from a jug, Betty came out with a pop. By this time, a crowd had gathered round to see what caused such a fuss. And I heard her say, that was the day she learned her daddy knew how to cuss. Oh, Betty, whoa, Betty B, ladybug gal, with a twinkle in her eyes and laughter in her smile, sure to lift your morale. If you start your day feeling gloomy and gray, skies are filled with rain, all you need is some vitamin Betty B, and the sun will shine again. Now, Betty knew that to be a nurse was what she was born to do. So she took her training in Winnipeg so she wouldn't kill someone she knew. Well, wouldn't you know it, she was head of her class, a medal winner to boot. So I won't tell tales, but you ought to ask her about the bedpan and the laundry chute. Oh, Betty, Betty, gal, with a twinkle in her eye and a smile and a laugh, you want her to be your pal. If you start your day gloomy and gray, your skies are filled with rain, just take some Betty B, and the sky will be sunny again. Going on safari to South Africa's veld was something she decided to do. See elephants and cheetahs and lions and zebras and gnu's. Well, the guide told them they had to be quiet. From loud noises, they must refrain. But when she saw a giraffe, she had to laugh. And Betty was in trouble again. 'Cause Betty asked lots of questions, but the guide was not amused. And he said that if she didn't behave, duct tape would be used. Oh, Betty, whoa, Betty B, Betty gal, with a twinkle in her eye and laughter in her smile, sure to lift your morale. If you start your day feeling gloomy and gay, your sky's filled with rain, all you need is some vitamin Betty B, and the sun will shine again. Oh, Betty, Betty B, some gal, with a twinkle in her eye and laughter in her smile, you'd want her to be your pal. If you start your day feeling gloomy and gray, your skies are filled with rain, all you need is some vitamin Betty B, and the sun will shine again. All you need is some vitamin Betty B, the skies will sun again. Betty Curris. Betty is over there. Wave your arm, Betty. She is quite the gal, and those stories are all true.
Thanks, Kate and Fred. I'd like to see a cartoon done to that song. I think that would really fit well. Okay, so that's the show, except for Daniel Peloquin-Hopfner. Dan's going to come up and sing about Louise Yurchak. That's right. She spent quite a bit of time up north as a teacher. I'll let him explain about Louise. I know about Daniel, though. We've worked together before lots of times, and he's a great instrumentalist and songwriter, and it's a pleasure to know him. Here's Daniel Peloquin-Hopfner.
Instrumentalist, key word there being mental. Boy, there's a lot of great songs up here tonight. And it's not even night yet. So I got some big shoes to fill. I had the great pleasure of getting to hang out with Louise Yurchak on the... Where's Louise? There you are. Louise is no stranger to these parts. Louise is a member of this church. And we had the great pleasure of hanging out over Zoom. We were ships in the night for quite some time, actually. We were trying to connect, and things couldn't work out. Louise is out west in Vancouver visiting some family. And then I went to France for some reason. And just over the course of all of these funny little moving parts, we never could actually spend time together. But when we did, we really made the best of it. And I made a point of just digging in with so many questions. And Louise was very, very generous with her stories. It was very, very wonderful to hear. She hasn't actually heard this song yet. And we only just met for the first time this afternoon, so it's pretty special. Louise's story was something that just floored me. Born in God's Lake in northern Manitoba, and then moving into Norway House. And Louise moved in as a very young girl because her parents passed away, and she was raised by a foster family. And her story is really exceptional, I've got to say. I've met a lot of people in my life, but Louise has gone through a tremendous amount of change, and somehow through all of it ends up being, maybe to no surprise to any, a teacher. Someone who's always there for youth, but always there for seniors as well, and someone that I strive to be like at some point in my life. And I had no idea how to write her story. I had no idea how to turn this into a song. To someone who is so generous of spirit and generous of heart, and who had lost so much before she'd gained anything. So I thought, there's no way I could sing this story from my perspective. So instead, I just let the muse take me, and I found myself looking in wonder at this incredible person's life. And I thought, I wondered what her father would be thinking if he was alive today, or through any of her life, to be able to see the wonderful impact that she's had on everyone around her. When we first were introduced, I asked her if it was okay if I called her Louise, and she said, actually, my name isn't Louise, it's Mary. What? yes, it's Mary, and her birth name was Mary, but, no, rather, her birth name was Mary, is that correct? But she couldn't be Mary because when the family that she was moving in with, there was a Mary that was already in the family. So she took the name Louise instead, and when she was married, she took a different last name as well. And over the course of her life, people have called her so many different things, and she's meant so many different things to so many different people. So this song is from her father's perspective, what I imagine it would be like for him. And it's called Mary, You'll Be Known by Many Names. Made all the arrangements, it's time for you to go. Take care of both of your brothers, though you're only 4 years old. For I'm dying now of cancer, your mother's got the lung. Neither now will live for very long. You'll live with the MacGyvers, for young children they have 3. Their daughter Due's called Mary, so you'll go now by Louise. You may not be their children, but they'll love you just the same. Well, Mary, you'll be known by many names. In the northern pines you'll summer, wintering in the southern birches, schooling in a girl's house, in the cradle of the churches. And though the other girls are older, you're all born out from the woods. Like us, their parents gave them all they could. They'll come to call you sister, a bond never to be broken. Though time and distance cross you, not an ill word will be spoken. You'll grow into a woman as your memory of me fades. Well, Mary, you'll be known by many names. You'll move down to the city, as all the young folk do. Well, keeping books and numbers both come easily to you. And the young man that you fancy and you've known throughout your life will take a knee and ask you to be his wife. Well, soon you'll start a family, 2 beautiful young daughters. You'll stay at home and tend to them, a dutiful young mother. Take comfort in the joyous sound of children at their games. Well, Mary, you'll be known by many names. They'll call you daughter and sister, a teacher and a friend, a mother and grandmother, a grandmother again. Well, the years will trickle by till you wonder where they've gone. Now look back at a life both full and long. There will come a time, looking in your daughter's eyes, you'll be at the age that I was when I died. Chase not the ghost of circumstance, set you on this path. Let's try to make these precious moments last. Precious few will know you by my name. but I'll be watching over you just the same.
Thanks, folks.
That was incredible. Daniel Peloquin-Hopfner. Yeah. Thanks, Louise Yurchak. And thank you to all of you for coming today. Nice way to spend a Sunday afternoon, hey? Yeah. Thanks very much to Michael Cutler on sound over there behind the curtain, the man behind the curtain. And from the Crescent Rouge Church and Crescent Arts Center, and Grant Simpson and I, thanks very much for coming. We'll see you down the road.